The government is being accused of breaking the law on EU citizens' rights post-Brexit. The Independent Monitoring Authority is expected to bring a judicial review claiming 2.6 million EU citizens are at risk now of losing their residency rights in the UK. It's because of the government's interpretation of the withdrawal agreement under Home Office rules. Well, the case is being heard today. Joining me now is Catherine Barnard, Professor of European Law at the University of Cambridge. Professor, good morning.
Good morning.
Just take us through then, firstly, if you would, why so many people are at risk now of losing their right to live here.
So I'm afraid it's a bit technical, but just before Brexit, any EU national who was living in the UK could live here and they didn't even need to register. All they need to do was get a national insurance number if they wanted to work. Post-Brexit, that changed, and you had to apply for what was called settled status. And there were two types of settled status. There was pre-settled status for those who had lived here for less than 5 years, and settled status for those who'd lived here for more than 5 years. Now, for those with pre-settled status, that's the 2.5 million you've been mentioning, they have to apply to upgrade to settled status at the end of their 5-year period. Now, the problem is that a lot of people don't realise they need to do it, and there isn't one fixed deadline. It's a bit like your passport expires at a different date to my passport. We just have to remember to renew it as and when it comes to an end. It's the same with pre-settled status. Everyone has a different date, and if they don't remember to apply to upgrade it, it's really serious because they lose all of their rights to work, their rights to access benefits, access housing, access healthcare. And what this judicial review is about is saying, actually, that's not what the withdrawal agreement says. The withdrawal agreement is the text, the divorce text when we left the EU. And the withdrawal agreement doesn't allow for this requirement to upgrade. And if you don't upgrade, you lose all of your rights. And that's what the issue is today.
And for anyone affected then, in practice, obviously it all adds up to quite a nightmare, doesn't it, Professor? I mean, I'm thinking if they work here, they've got partners here who may be British, children at school and so on.
Absolutely. And indeed, at least in theory, they risk deportation if they have not applied for settled status before the end of their 5 years here in the United Kingdom. And that's what the Independent Monitoring Authority, who is bringing this claim today, is arguing, says it's just not possible under the terms of the withdrawal agreement for them to be required to upgrade their status, and if they don't, to lose all of these rights. And remember, there are a lot of people who've done it who understand this, but remember too that best part of 50% of EU migrants living in the UK are doing low-skilled or low-paid jobs and often just do not realise what's required of them. And it's those people who are particularly vulnerable.
So just finally then, if any of these people fail in their applications to stay on, just run us through the options open to them, if any.
Yes, it doesn't look good as the law stands at the moment. As the law stands at the moment, if they don't apply to upgrade, they lose their rights to be here and they can be deported and they lose any other protection under the withdrawal agreement. And that's what the government is arguing is what was agreed in the withdrawal agreement. The Independent Monitoring Authority say that's not the case. So at the moment, I would encourage anyone who is coming to the end of their 5-year period to apply for settled status, and then we'll wait to see the outcome of the judicial review.
Good advice indeed. All right, Catherine Barnard, thank you so much for joining us here on LBC.